Hello, this is Stephen Pena, and this is another video on how to be Steve Pena, finance business partner. This particular video is about loading the UK and regions results for the period. So we're going to go through a few steps, and then I'm going to show you what you need to get that accomplished. So like a previous video where I showed you how to convert year-to-date or revalue year-to-date results from the UK and regions from GBP into USD. Now we're going to load a single period, the most recent period, and we're going to load both USD and GBP results into PBCS. So here are some steps. So we have confirm the books are closed, run a specific trial balances report out of the UK ERP, copy and paste that data into a transformation workbook. In this workbook, you'll need to update the foreign exchange rate for the year to date. You're going to need to check formulas, update, refresh pivot tables. You're going to need to create a flat file, a CSV file for loading into PBCS. We are going to load into the reporting cube, check for accuracy, and then once validated, we will be loading into the planning cube. So some of the things you'll need. Last time we only needed a cup of coffee, but these specific steps require an espresso shot and some whiskey. So you're going to have to log into PBCS, the simplified interface. You're going to need to log into the UK ERP, specifically the reports and analytics area. You're going to need to open the 2019 results by month Excel file, log into SmartView for PBCS, and log into SmartView for the UK ERP. And you're also going to need the updated year-to-date foreign exchange rate Excel file. So I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to log into PBCS. So let me just pull this over. We are going to log into PBCS. And we're going to go to the simplified interface. All right, next step is log into UK ERP. So with that, we're going to go into the source. We're going to go down here to quick links, Fusion ERP for UK and regions. I've already saved my login and password. From here, we're going to go to reports and analytics. And just like following the steps, we're going to open up the reports by month Excel file, which I already have open. So in terms of a refreshing where that is, share financial reporting, monthly reporting 2019, the current month in which we're in. And then you'll see here, I've already updated it for this month. So there's this. And I have it specifically on the UK results grid. And then the last thing we'll need to open up is the foreign exchange rate, which I have already done. If you want to know where it is, you can see here, share, financial reporting, monthly reporting, 2019 foreign exchange. All right, so we are going to first confirm the book's closed. Given that from time perspective, and I want to make sure that everyone understands how this is done. The books aren't supposed to close till later this afternoon. Right now it's 12:42, the day of close. It's supposed to close by the end of the day, but I want to get this video completed for you all. So that has yet to be done, but typically we get an email saying the books are closed, and that's when I start the process. Next step is to run the all ledgers trial balances report. That's in the UK ERP. So from that, we're going to have to go back into this area. And when we went to reports and analytics, the way that I have it set up, it goes directly into this area. And I have a couple of favorites that are designated. And one of them is this all ledgers trial balance report, FBP. Used to be called something different, but I've set it up specifically in the finance business partnering folder in the UK ERP. So we're going to open that up. And when it opens up, there's going to be a few parameters that you can select, and we're going to go one by one. Some of them you don't have to change, some of them you do. So this is going to load, doesn't really matter. And we're going to go into the GL name, and the SEMA ledger GB is already one selected, which is one we need, but we also need to select a variety of the secondary ledgers. So these skips corporate center and the general charitable trust, it goes straight to these. And then to the bottom, these skip over the USD secondary and go into these. The rest you leave behind. Currency code, we're going to leave GBP. Entity, we're going to leave all. We're going to change the period. Remove that. We're going to go down to July 2019. Okay. And department all, count all, and we're going to apply. This is going to run. And when it's done, we will be exporting. It shouldn't take very long. And once it's done, and okay, here we go. So we're going to, from here, go to this little gearbox thing, export Excel. Take about 30 seconds. It'll spit out the Excel version of that report, and then we can start transforming it into a file that we will then transport into another file that will be used, that's already set up to translate the data. And one thing I did forget to note on this, the files that are required, you're going to need to have this trial balance converter. And I'll make sure to put that on the slide deck. So one of the things you're going to need, the UK regions trial balance converter file. Okay. So let's go back to here. It's the processing. Once it's done, there we go, done. On the bottom, open it up. Okay, we're going to enable editing. And from here, you're going to see a bunch of different fields. You're going to notice that there are accounts in here that are balance sheet. So all the one accounts are not something that we need to worry about. So what I typically do, come over here and I create a financial statement column. And then also what we're going to do is we don't want to bog down the system. So we're going to eliminate anything that has zero activity. So we're going to create an if statement that says if the left of the account number of characters 1 equals 1, then we're going to call it out bucket into balance sheet. And if it is anything else, we're going to call it P&L. And then in addition to that, we're also going to check if the activity resulted in nothing happening. So debit minus credit. And we're going to copy those down. All right. So from here, filter. And we're going to filter on balance sheet. And I'm going to show you all of the balance sheet accounts with any activity that has happened this year, just to check. And then what I'm going to do now, because I don't want any of that, I'm going to select visible rows, and I'm going to delete those rows. So now the only thing left should be balance sheet. Let's take a second. The next thing we're going to do is check to make sure that this ties to the GL. But before we do, okay, now we have all P&L, and we're going to go down here. We're going to sum the ending balance. So this is the year-to-date balance, 17,278,698, and we're going to check that. But in addition to that, we're also going to go down here and take out the 0. And okay. So what we're going to do next, just to make sure that we've got the most accurate and relevant information, we're going to come over here, and in this 2019 results month file, we're going to go into the UK ERP. Now right here's a grid. It's basically the same thing that we did for that trial balance. All the ledgers we selected, this is the parent level of total net income, which is all the 2 accounts, and a month by month, all the way through July. And what I'm going to do, I already have connected to it, but typically you would need to connect to the UK Smart View. And then I'm going to refresh. Okay, so that number should tie to what that number is. And it does. So we have pulled the correct amount of a correct activity for the period. And that's 17,278,697.76, 17,278,697.76. So that's the sum of all of these. So month by month by month activity across all the GBP ledgers. So we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do, because I don't want to bog down PBCS, is what I'm going to do is go down to zero. I'm going to do the same thing. Select visible rows, delete the rows, and then the result is what we're going to transfer or copy and paste into our transformation file. And that file will basically get it set up so we can load everything into PBCS in the way that PBCS will recognize it with all the unique attributes. So like for account or for project or for value chain, it'll have the right number of characters. And if there's anything like PJ added to the start as a prefix, all of that will be converted. Okay, it took a little bit of time. I'm back and we've eliminated the zeros so we won't bog down PBCS, and that number, if we go back and clear it out, we've still have the same number or the same value. It's just that we eliminated all the zero activity. So now that we have everything ready to go, so we have this report, and we're going to go over here. This is let me move this if I can, the trial balance converter file. So what we're going to do here eliminate anything that's there. It'll take a couple of minutes. Okay, so it has finished calculating. Here's a bunch of the rows which have some things we need to check, but also this tacks on the value chain, character, company, team, product, project, territory. And then the final result is what PBCS will then recognize. So now we're going to go, so let's just copy and paste this. So this is the results that we just pulled. I'm going to copy everything there, move over here, and paste it in. So now everything should calculate, and we're going to then from here update. This is the foreign exchange that we're going to convert. So from here we need to go to the rates. If you recall the rate 1.28717, go here and we're going to paste it in. So then everything that is calculated, it's both in the activity for GBP and USD at the current rate. So we're going to go down on the bottom because there's a few rows that need to be expanded on this. And we're going to make sure that is done. Okay, so everything is there. And we go back up to the top. Some of this is not really anything that I'm concerned with, but something that Tianda was worried about in terms of how we're bucketed, in terms of class, revenue, expense. This is important because this determines if it's the revenue, then the sign will change. And something specific about PBCS and the way it was set up, which is easy to change, but at the moment, everything that's loaded in PBCS, if it's positive, then or if it's an increase, it's positive. So revenue, if the number is a positive number, that's an increase or it's good. If it's a cost and it's an increase, that's an increase in cost. That makes sense. So when we export it out of ERP, it's in its natural sign. So revenue is a negative where everything else is positive. So we got to change that. And so this file does that for you depending on the count number. So if you go and look at the VLOOKUP, it basically takes all of these, looks up a mapping file, and then if it is classified as revenue, it will convert. And then these are PBCS, GBP, and USD. So this is what we will be loading, these values across these specific unique intersections in PBCS. So right now, we have 5573 is the row. And something that we could probably do to change, these other tabs have a lot of pivots on them. And one of the things about this is you got to check the pivots. And right now, the pivot is set for the prior month's worth of rows. But we need to go and make sure that that pivot points to the full data set. So 5573. So when we go here, we're going to go to 5573. Okay. So you'll see that 1314544.25. That's the sum of the net activity, which you should recognize because when we pulled it, that's the number. And we're going to do that for all these pivots. I think, what was it? Cancel. And I can't remember. 5573. So now we're going to go change, paste, change, paste, change, paste. Oh. Change, paste. Now you might be thinking, well, you just need to create a table instead of having to expand the pivot every single time, which you would be right. I just haven't done it yet. So all these should reflect. So you'll see the revenue, 2.7 million British pounds, COGS expense for a net deficit, period deficit of 1.3, and then the converted USD activity, and then what's going to actually be loaded in PBCS for it to properly account for it. So then over here, we're going to have to do the same thing. So I'm going to go analyze, change data. Okay. And the same thing for this one. And basically these two pivots are exactly what we're copying and pasting into CSV file for loading. So we're going to copy all this stuff and you'll see that in a second. But for now, I'm going to save this because we're ready to go. And what we're going to do now, let's see if I got the steps right. So we've copied, pasted PBCS into the transformation workbook. We've updated the foreign exchange rate, checked the formulas, updated other. So now we're going to create the PBCS CSV file. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back into the prior month. And I'm going to just pull what I did before, but change it now. So I'm going to go into here. Oh, you know what? That is the wrong file. Cancel. It doesn't really matter, honestly. So we can just, we're loading July only. And we're going to load to the planning cube. But we don't exactly know the accounts and point of view at the moment. So we're just going to delete that out. And I'm going to save this as a CSV file. And how did I name it before? May actuals load. 20, let's just call it, yeah. Let's change it. PBCS July. So we're going to take July 2019 UK ERP load. Okay. And we're going to save. Yes. So now we have it ready to go. And what we're going to do now is copy and paste both GBP and USD results. So I'm going to go back to the trial balance. So we're going to do GBP first. So all the row labels all the way down. Copy and paste. All of the PBCS results. PBCS, GBP, copy. And the point of view, this is the point of view, GBP. So copy, paste. All right, so the next step is at the bottom where this is all GBP result. Now we're going to do the USD result. So let's go down here. This is the table for USD. These should be the same than the one we just loaded, but just to be safe, copy, paste, and we're going to load PBCS USD. And point of view. And then we're going to make sure there's enough. Okay, so it goes out. Now we have our file ready to load in planning, but before we do that, we're going to check it in reporting to make sure, because it's kind of safe that way. You can load, and if it's wrong, then you know if at any point when you map data over, it'll wipe it out before it loads it again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save this as PBCS actual load. UK ERP load, and we're going to do this for reporting. CSV. So now what we're going to do, everything, if you watch the previous video, you'll know that we need to make sure we put in the time series. So because we're loading into the reporting cube now. So I need to add in the month to date. So we're loading in a period, month to date. So July's period, and we're going to replace. Okay. And then we're going to make sure that the cube that we're loading into is the reporting cube. And then we're going to do plan 1, AICPA. Okay. Close. And we are ready to load. So from here, we are going to go to PBCS, Overview, Actions, Import, Create, Browse, and right here, July, we're going to load the reporting first because we want to check it. So, okay. And we're going to don't load or import metadata, and we're going to import. Okay. And it should tell us by email that the job is finished, which we'll wait for. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to bounce over to 2019 monthly results. We're going to go to UK. So this is the UK grid in US PBCS. So we've been notified that it's been completed and loaded in the reporting queue. So from here, I'm going to connect to the plan AICPA, and hopefully that number and those are all going to tie it to what we expect. So let's cross our fingers and refresh. Oh, shoot. Log in. And boom. And yep. So all of those, and this basically checks the sum of the periods in USD versus the sum of the periods in pounds, and double checks. And this makes sure that we tie to the UK ERP. So don't know why we're off by 8 pounds. It could be a rounding issue. That typically happens. Let me just check to make sure. Fresh. Okay, so we are good to go. So now we know we've loaded pound sterling. The one we know it. The period came in at a 1.3 million British pound deficit. Converted to USD, it's 1.7 roughly. We've checked foreign exchange matches the year-to-date average exchange rate that we pulled out of the FX rates file. And now the only thing left for us to do is wait for US ledgers to close. And then we can check everything all at once. So let's go and recap. Confirm books closed. We ran all trial balances report out of the UK ERP, which was here, here to here. And we exported to Excel, copied and pasted to the PBCS data transformation workbook, which is here. This converted everything, added all of the attributes that PBCS needed to recognize it. And then from there, we copied that information to a load file. In that load file, we saved in both planning and the reporting cube format, and we loaded into reporting, and we have validated what we loaded matches UK ERP. So we are good to go. So the last step after we've checked for accuracy is to load to the planning cube. So we're going to go back here, actions, import, create, browse. This is the planning cube one. Uncheck, import. Okay, and this one is going to take just a little longer because it's loading into the planning cube. Perfect. So we've completed. So now, done. So we know for sure what we've loaded in the reporting cube, which is reflected here, is in the planning cube as well. So that is it. We've done all the steps. We've gone through all of these files, and now you know how to load UK and regions results into US PBCS.